Good afternoon from the National Service of the Liberia Broadcasting System and welcome to Newsline. 30 minutes news presentation about Liberia and the rest of our one world. Today is Tuesday, January 18, 2023, with this afternoon's presentation. My name is Titi Gibro. Top stories this afternoon, Israeli government agrees to build 1,000 kVA solar plant in Liberia.
There are tangibles coming out of Israel. And one of the tangibles that we can talk about here is the fact that the Israeli government, through the instrumentality of the meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency D. Maxwell Sakemi Yassinian, and his counterpart Eli Cohen, the Israelis agreed to build a 1,000 kilovolt ampere.
Woman sentenced to 10-year imprisonment for facilitating gang rape of 14-year-old girl in Grand Bassa County. Government announces plans to invest in locally produced rice, to lessen importation of the commodity.
First, the government is considering directing any government assistance towards domestically produced rice rather than imported rice.
And away from Liberia, Nigeria gears up to stop spread of anthrax after cases were reported at livestock farm northwest of the capital, Abuja. Sports. The news in simple Liberian English, French, a report of today's weather and foreign development are all packaged. Zokwe Beslokan first sets the pace with a bulletin of news.
Israeli government has agreed to build 1,000 kVA solar plant in Liberia. The solar plant is expected to be constructed to provide solar energy for the Executive Mansion and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, respectively. Information Minister Ledger Hood Rennie told the Super Money Show on Monday that the solar project is a direct political dividend from the recent trip of President George Weah and officials to the State of Israel. Minister Rennie said the agreement was reached during a meeting between Foreign Minister D. Maxwell Kimaya and his Israeli counterpart Eli Cohen.
There are tangibles coming out of Israel. And one of the tangibles that we can talk about here is the fact that the Israeli government, through the instrumentality of the meeting between the Minister of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency D. Maxwell Sakemi Yassinian, and his counterpart Eli Cohen, the Israelis agreed to build a 1,000 kilovolt ampere, KVA, 1,000 KVA solar plant for the Executive Mansion and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to power these two institutions on Capitol Hill.
The information minister also disclosed that the Ministry of National Defense will benefit training support from the Israeli government as well. In another development, Minister Rennie reaffirmed government's commitment to fighting drug abuse in the country. He said for Liberia to succeed in a fight against substance abuse, it requires the collective effort of all citizens and not government alone. The Second Judicial Circuit Court in Grand Bassa County has sentenced a 25-year-old woman to 10 years in prison. Convict Faith Pay was found guilty of facilitating the gang rape of a 14-year-old girl on Palm Beach in Buchanan by her brother. According to our correspondent, the convict Pay and her brother, who is also 14 years, to have sex with the girl who was reportedly a virgin. According to court records, she took the girl on the beach and sat on her neck while her brother carried out the act. Meanwhile, the court has issued a writ of arrest for the duo, who is said to be on the run. Deputy Finance Minister for Budget and Development, Tanya Bronson, says government is working towards the production of 510,000 metric tons of rice annually in Liberia. Minister Bronson said the government, in collaboration with USAID Policy Dialogue Activity Project, has begun a proposal of 3 broad principles to achieve its target of producing locally made rice in the country. She said the decision of the government is to increase domestic rice production by 75% and reduce foreign reliance. Minister Bronson said government is considering to make the right intervention towards locally produced rice rather than imported one. Speaking Tuesday at program marking the fourth edition of the Liberia Economic Dialogue organized by World Bank, the Deputy Finance Minister, however, called for collaboration between government and the private sector, including research institutions, civil society, among others. The chief propagandist of the We Are Intellectuals movement, Councillor Kanyo Baigbala, has described Sedition's thank you ceremony as a testament to the second round victory of President George Weah. Councillor Baigbala said the gathering was a confirmation that Liberians are resolved to re-elect President Weah owing to his transformational dreams and aspirations for the Liberian people. He described President Weah as a selfless leader who has a good track record and believes in societal transformation.
What we saw today, that tsunami gathering of first-time voters of diverse people in many areas within public life within Liberia, is a demonstration that we have traction. It's a demonstration that our message has been percolating down to the roots of Liberian society.
The We Are Intellectual Movement chief propagandist spoke on the Monday's edition of ELBC magazine program Open Conversation. At the same time, Councillor Baigbala said Unity Party standard bearer Joseph Boakai does not have the moral rectitude to rescue the Liberian people as claimed in his so-called rescue mission, and media practitioners and managers are participating in National Elections Commission Media Code of Conduct training in Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. The media were drawn from Grand Cape Mount, bombing by Polusino, Riverside, Grand Bassa, Montserrat, and Margibi counties. NEC Communications Officer Henry Flomo said the training is cardinal to ensure the accurate and factual dissemination of information during and after the October 10 elections. Mr. Flomo said the 3-day training of trainers workshop will ensure the public is correctly informed on elections matters. And news just coming in says Deputy House Speaker, that's former Deputy House Speaker and Representative of Grand Bassa County, Hans Bashu, is dead. We bring you subsequent newscasts of that development.
Zokwe Beslokone returns a little later with our foreign development and weather report. One of our top stories this afternoon: woman sentenced to 10-year imprisonment for facilitating gang rape of a 14-year-old girl in Grand Bassa County. To this story now, government is beginning to place a spotlight on the rice sector to increase domestically produced rice in the country. The World Bank is collaborating with the Liberian government to develop a proposal that will attract more donor support to the sector. On Tuesday, the World Bank held the Liberia Economic Update 4th edition with emphasis on rice production. Deputy Finance Minister for Budget, Tene Bronson, provided updates on the latest move by government